Good evening to you, and thanks for being here on this Friday night. I'm Regina On. New tonight, Eastern Washington University's interim president is recommending the school's athletic program remain in Division I and that the school keeps its football program. But beyond sports, the interim president is recommending to cut degree programs. KREM 2's Joshua Robinson has a closer look.
The Board of Trustees at Eastern Washington University is now tasked with deciding the fate of several university programs, including its athletic department. In the middle of its ongoing budget crisis, EWU hired an independent consultant who found other schools who have dropped their football programs saw negative impacts on enrollment. So, most of the Cheney and Eastern communities have voiced their opinion toward keeping football the same moving forward. But those same budget concerns could instead mean major changes to several other programs, including several music majors.
We have some programs that are joining other programs in different colleges and different departments going forward starting next year, which is exciting in a lot of ways, a little bit scary for some, but we can do it.
Dr. Jody Graves says she sees a lot of opportunity for music and performance majors to adapt and keep their same level of education for their current and incoming students. But no matter how optimistic she might be for her program, she says her heart also breaks for the possibility of hard decisions in other departments.
I hope that we go forward with the idea of how to collaborate and grow rather than come at it from a place of lack. We think of it as, well, how can we be creative and how can we find solutions forward?
Another program on the possible chopping block at Eastern, journalism.
I did come to Eastern to major in journalism.
John Allison, who's wrapping up his own freshman year, says he's already dealt with spending his entire first year away from campus, and that now it's too late for students, including new freshmen, to change course before the fall semester.
The freshman students who have committed to Eastern Washington because they wanted to go to journalism, and now, they probably missed their opportunity to maybe, back out of going to Eastern and going to another school. So it just adds a lot of stress for parents and also, for everybody.
Eastern's Board of Trustees will meet this June to vote on how best to navigate the school's budget worries and what needs to go, at least for now. Joshua Robinson, KREM 2 News.
Also new tonight, our Whitney Ward spoke with the man who authored an in-depth report earlier this year spelling out all of Eastern's budget troubles. This afternoon, David Cyphers told us Eastern athletics have a disproportionate chunk of the university budget, and despite popular opinion, leaving Division I is the best move.
Essentially, we can keep the sports that we have right now. It's just a lot cheaper to run them. You don't have as many coaches. You don't pay the coaches as much. If I look at Central Washington University or Western Washington University, both of which are Division II, Central has football, Western does not. I can look at their budgets and see what do real live Division II schools look like, and their budgets are much smaller than ours in terms of how much the university gives them. So they do have lower revenue in terms of football tickets, right? They just don't sell as many football tickets. They can't charge as high a price for them, but their costs are so much lower that they save a lot of money compared to Eastern.
What do you say to those who would vehemently argue against that idea and say that having high caliber sports helps bring in new students, which has been kind of the recurring problem for many years?
I would say, show me the evidence. When the Washington Post put together a collection of schools that had won high profile sports competitions, Eastern Washington University, for example, shows up as a case study of no effect on enrollment, right? That 2010 win shows up as no effect on enrollment. When I looked at us, making it to the football championships a few years ago, no effect on enrollment.
Now, David is currently a physics and astronomy professor at Eastern and the incoming president of the faculty organization. He also told us Eastern is already losing many of its top faculty members because of all of this uncertainty, and he said that problem is only going to get worse. Coming up later in the newscast, KREM 2 sports director Brenna Green sits down with EWU athletic director Lynn Hickey to get her reaction to David May's recommendation to her athletics department. Obviously, this is a happy day for many in that department, including the coaches and athletes.
Very appreciative of the president's support. That was good news to hear that he's feels good about our value and our purpose in the mission of the university.
And we'll also talk to Lynn about those who are critical of May's recommendation. More on that coming up in tonight's Sportscast. All right, let's get a check on weather. Hope you're all enjoying this awesome Friday night. The weekend is just so close now. Let's turn to meteorologist Thomas Patrick, who is out on the Outdoor Weather Center for us here tonight. So Thomas, can you tell me what we have in store for this weekend? I'm hoping just a little bit of sunshine.
Yeah, we can get a little bit of sunshine. I know today we actually had quite a bit of cloud cover late in the day. Kind of made things feel a bit cooler than what it really was out there. And all that cloud cover came from a weather system that's off to our east. And thankfully, this didn't hit us directly. It is still snowing over portions of central Montana as of this hour. Decent amount of snow out there. The cloud cover extended into our region, got a little wind off of that as well, but that system not going to bother us anything more than what we had today. Tomorrow, mix of sun and clouds throughout the majority of the day. I think our highs end up in the upper 60s. However, there is the small chance of showers. It's not going to be an all-day rain. Far from it, in fact. I think the worst case scenario, it rains for 5 or 10 minutes, and then it's dry for the rest of the day. But I have to keep that small chance of showers in the forecast, not just Saturday, not just Sunday either, but for a few days ahead of us as well. In fact, the next 5 days all have a measly 20% chance of rain on each of the next 5 days. So it's definitely not going to rain all 5 of those days, but you got to keep it, it's just keeping us honest just enough. But coming up, I'm going to show you just how little rain this is going to have on our area in terms of its total impact. So look for that data as well as your extended outlook, all coming up in a few minutes.
20% is better than zero. Okay, Thomas, thank you. Now to our top stories tonight. Idaho State Police warning the public about an increase in deadly overdoses connected to fentanyl in Kootenai County. 5 deaths involving counterfeit prescription pills and other narcotics believed to be laced with fentanyl have been reported in the county in the last 8 days. Fentanyl is 50 to 100 times more potent than morphine and up to 50 times more potent than heroin. Doses as small as 2 milligrams, the size of 2 grains of salt, are fatal for most people. In Kootenai County, overdose deaths rose by 37% in 2020. There were 24 deaths reported in 2019 compared to 33 in 2020. There has been a coronavirus outbreak at Lake City High School in Coeur d'Alene. At least 26 students have tested positive so far, with most of them catching it at school. Only a few weeks after the school board and CDA voted to rescind the mask mandate. KREM 2's Casey Decker has more details about how the district is responding to this concerning development.
When COVID first started to spread here at Lake City High School, they required masks for just a few select grades. When that didn't work, they started requiring masks for everybody except those who were fully vaccinated. And that still hasn't stopped the spread. So now every single student and staff member at this school must wear masks at all times.
Just a few weeks ago, school board members, feeling COVID numbers were sufficiently down, voted to remove the requirement that students wear masks in schools, instead making masks strongly recommended. But now the numbers are back up and, in fact, worse than ever.
This is the most significant outbreak we've had in our district this year with COVID. We have not seen anything similar to what we're seeing here at Lake City High School.
At least 26 students have tested positive so far. Contact tracing suggests 20 of those got the virus at school. The district tells us there have even been at least 2 cases where students tested positive and then came back to school anyway without a mask.
They really need to stay home if you're sick, if you're showing any symptoms, or if certainly when you've tested positive.
So in an emergency decision, the school is now requiring masks for everyone for these last 3 weeks of the school year. And if things continue to worsen, there's some chance remote learning could be brought back or that graduation could be canceled.
We want parents and students to be aware of what's at stake here. That, I think, is a remote possibility. I'm fairly confident that we'll be able to have our graduation ceremony on June 12th. But really, if the problem persists here, we need to look at anything and everything.
The hope is that masks will be enough. Smaller outbreaks at a couple CDA middle schools were successfully squashed by mask mandates, according to the district.
So we know that this can be an effective short-term measure, a temporary return to masking. We just need to step it up here a little bit more at Lake City.
The outbreak, of course, affects more than just students. The virus can quickly spread through the whole community, and that's exactly what is happening in Kootenai County right now.
Just a few weeks ago, we were seeing 20 to 30 cases a day. Now we're averaging around 50 cases per day. So we're not headed in the right direction as far as case counts and positivity rates. I'm sure you heard that Kootenai Health, their hospital inpatients with COVID doubled in a week.
Panhandle Health District says a big factor in this surge, a low vaccination rate in North Idaho. Only 37% of eligible people have gotten even one dose, so they're setting up mobile vaccine pop-ups to try to remedy that.
If people can't make it to a clinic or they just think that's just one barrier to keep them from getting the vaccine, we will just bring it to you.
In Coeur d'Alene, Casey Decker, KREM 2 News.
The Spokane Regional Health District reporting 256 new COVID cases today. The health district says the higher number is due to the clearance of a backlog of electronic lab report messages the health department discovered yesterday. However, there are no new deaths to report today, and 77 COVID patients currently are hospitalized. Nearly 49% of eligible Spokane County residents have initiated vaccinations.